In your grandmother's spice cabinet, there was always a small jar of something golden, not saffron, not mustard, something earthier, something older, something that stained everything it touched, her fingers, her cutting board, her wooden spoons, a deep, warm yellow that would not wash out. Turmeric. She used it in her cooking every single day, not because a nutritionist told her to, not because she read about it in a health magazine, because her mother used it, and her mother's mother used it before that, and it stretched back further than any of them could remember, through centuries of kitchens, through generations of people who understood something about this golden root that most of the modern world has spent billions of dollars trying to rediscover. Turmeric has been used medicinally for over 4,000 years. It is one of the most studied plants in all of modern medical research. As of 2023, there are over 12,000 peer-reviewed studies examining the properties of curcumin, turmeric's primary active compound. And what those studies consistently confirm is what your grandmother already knew. Today we are counting down 18 turmeric uses that your grandparents swore by, the ones they reached for without thinking, without explanation, without a supplement label to tell them what it was for. And number one replaces a supplement most people pay $30 a month for. Without ever knowing they already have something better in their kitchen. Let's begin. Healing cuts and minor wounds. Before antiseptic creams, before medicated wound dressings, your grandmother kept a small jar of turmeric powder in the medicine cabinet alongside the one in the kitchen. For minor cuts, scrapes, and skin wounds, she made a simple paste. 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder mixed with just enough coconut oil or water to form a thick, spreadable paste. She applied it directly to the cleaned wound. She covered it with a clean cloth. She changed the dressing once a day. The curcumin in turmeric has demonstrated broad-spectrum antimicrobial activity against Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, and other common wound pathogens in multiple laboratory studies. Its anti-inflammatory properties reduce the swelling and heat around the wound that signal early infection. Its antioxidant properties protect the regenerating tissue from oxidative damage during healing. Your grandmother applied it without hesitation. The only thing she warned about was the staining. Everything it touches turns yellow. She considered that a small and entirely acceptable price. Soothing sore and aching joints. Your grandmother's hands had worked for decades, and they showed it. But they did not stop her. Every morning she made a warm drink. Half a teaspoon of turmeric, a small pinch of black pepper, always. Warm water or warm milk, a small amount of honey. She drank it before breakfast, before anything else. She called it keeping herself moving. The science calls it curcumin-mediated inhibition of NF-kappa B, a molecular pathway that drives the inflammatory cascade responsible for the pain and swelling of arthritis, gout, and joint disease. A 2014 study published in Clinical Interventions in Aging found that curcumin supplementation significantly reduced pain and improved function in patients with knee osteoarthritis, with comparable efficacy to ibuprofen and significantly fewer gastrointestinal side effects. Your grandmother did not take ibuprofen every morning. She took turmeric, and she kept her hands moving until the very end, settling an upset stomach and improving digestion. After any meal that disagreed with someone in her household, your grandmother had a remedy ready before the complaint had finished being expressed. Warm water, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of ginger, a small amount of honey, stir and sip. Turmeric stimulates bile production in the gallbladder, bile being the digestive fluid primarily responsible for breaking down dietary fats. When fat is not broken down efficiently, bloating, discomfort, and nausea follow. Stimulating bile flow resolves these symptoms at the source. The German Commission E, the scientific body that evaluates herbal medicines for efficacy and safety, officially approved turmeric for the treatment of dyspepsia, the medical term for digestive discomfort, based on the clinical evidence available. Germany approved it. Your grandmother used it. Both of them arrived at the same conclusion. Just one of them had the peer-reviewed studies to explain why. Brightening skin and fading blemishes. Your grandmother's skin had a warmth to it, a brightness that had nothing to do with any product she purchased. She made a face mask once a week. Half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 tablespoon of raw honey, 1 tablespoon of plain yogurt, mixed into a smooth paste. Apply to the face and neck. Left for 15 to 20 minutes. Rinsed with cool water. Curcumin has demonstrated the ability to inhibit the enzyme tyrosinase, which catalyzes melanin production in the skin. Reducing tyrosinase activity reduces hyperpigmentation, the uneven darkening that causes age spots, sun damage, and post-inflammatory marks. It also reduces the oxidative stress in skin cells that accelerates aging. Commercial brightening serums containing synthetic tyrosinase inhibitors cost $25 to $60 per bottle. Your grandmother's face mask cost pennies, and her skin, at any age, had a clarity and evenness that most modern skincare products are trying very hard to approximate, relieving headaches naturally. When a headache settled in, your grandmother did not immediately reach for pain medication. She went to the kitchen first. Half a teaspoon of turmeric dissolved in a glass of warm water with honey. Sometimes she added ginger. Sometimes she added a small amount of lemon. She sipped it slowly in a quiet room. Most headaches, particularly tension headaches, and the dull, persistent kind that come with illness, are driven by inflammation in the blood vessels and tissues of the head. Curcumin's inhibition of prostaglandin synthesis, the same mechanism that makes ibuprofen effective for headache, reduces this inflammatory pressure without requiring a pharmaceutical compound. For migraine specifically, research suggests that curcumin's modulation of nitric oxide production in the vascular system may reduce the frequency and severity of attacks with consistent use over time. Your grandmother treated the headache as a signal. Something was inflamed somewhere. She addressed the inflammation, not just the symptom, and it worked far more often than people expect, supporting liver health and detoxification. Your grandmother talked about keeping the blood clean. She meant the liver, and she kept hers healthy in ways that most people never consider until something goes wrong. Turmeric stimulates the production of bile, which carries waste products out of the liver and into the digestive system for elimination. It increases the activity of liver enzymes responsible for neutralizing and eliminating toxins. It protects liver cells from oxidative damage, the kind caused by alcohol, certain medications, and environmental toxins. Animal studies have shown that curcumin prevents liver damage from carbon tetrachloride, one of the most hepatotoxic substances known. Human studies have found that curcumin supplementation significantly improves liver enzyme levels in people with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Your grandmother cooked with turmeric every day. Her liver processed decades of life efficiently and quietly, the way a liver is supposed to. She supported it without drama, without expensive supplements, with a golden spice in her daily cooking. Halfway through. And I want to stop here for a moment and talk about something important. Something your grandmother knew that most people who talk about turmeric today get completely wrong. Curcumin, turmeric's active compound, is poorly absorbed by the body on its own. Taken in plain food or plain water, the body absorbs very little of it. Your grandmother did not know the word bioavailability, but she knew something that solves this problem entirely. Two things: black pepper and fat. Black pepper contains piperine, a compound that increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. 2,000%. Fat, any healthy fat, dissolves curcumin and carries it into the bloodstream far more effectively than water. This is why your grandmother always cooked turmeric in oil. This is why she always added black pepper to anything made with turmeric. She learned it from her mother, who learned it from hers. Before any scientists had measured what was happening at the molecular level, generations of cooks had already figured out the correct way to prepare turmeric for the body to use it. Every remedy in the second half of this video, make sure black pepper is present. And make sure there is a fat nearby: oil, milk, coconut oil, butter, anything. Your grandmother always did, so should you. Reducing seasonal allergy symptoms. Spring was not always easy for everyone in your grandmother's house. Sneezing, itchy eyes, congestion, the usual seasonal visitors. Your grandmother had a preparation she increased through allergy season. Her golden milk, made every evening, became more consistent. She added extra black pepper. She made sure there was fat in it. Curcumin has demonstrated the ability to inhibit the release of histamine from mast cells, the immune cells that trigger the allergic response. It reduces the inflammatory cascade that makes allergy symptoms so persistent and uncomfortable. A study published in the Annals of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology found that curcumin supplementation significantly reduced nasal airflow resistance and nasal symptoms in patients with allergic rhinitis. Your grandmother did not call it allergic rhinitis. She called it the season, and she managed it with her golden milk, and it helped. Supporting heart health. Your grandmother's heart carried her through a long and full life. She did not see a cardiologist. She did not take statins. She cooked with turmeric every single day. Curcumin improves the function of the endothelium, the thin lining inside blood vessels that regulates blood pressure, clotting, and vascular tone. Endothelial dysfunction is considered the primary driver of most cardiovascular disease. A study published in Nutrition Research found that curcumin was as effective as moderate aerobic exercise in improving endothelial function in postmenopausal women. Curcumin also reduces LDL cholesterol oxidation, the process that causes cholesterol to become embedded in arterial walls, and it reduces platelet aggregation, the clumping of blood cells that leads to clots. Your grandmother cooked with turmeric every day for decades, and her heart kept time with all of it, calming anxious feelings and supporting mood. Your grandmother was steady, not because life was easy for her, it was not, but she remained in some fundamental way grounded, present, capable. Research has found that curcumin influences the production and availability of serotonin and dopamine in the brain, the neurotransmitters most central to mood regulation and emotional resilience. A 2014 study published in Phytotherapy Research found that curcumin supplementation was as effective as fluoxetine, commonly known as Prozac, in reducing symptoms of major depressive disorder in a randomized controlled trial. Your grandmother did not take antidepressants. She did not need to name what she was managing. She cooked turmeric into her food every day. She drank her golden milk every evening, and she remained steady. Through decades of things that would have broken many people, the golden spice in her kitchen was quietly doing its work, treating fungal and bacterial skin infections, ringworm, athlete's foot, infected insect bites, stubborn skin irritations that would not resolve. Your grandmother made a paste, 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, enough coconut oil to bind it into a thick consistency, applied directly to the affected skin, left for 30 minutes, rinsed with cool water. Curcumin has demonstrated antifungal activity against Candida albicans, the most common cause of fungal skin infections, in multiple laboratory studies. Its antibacterial properties are effective against common skin pathogens. Its anti-inflammatory properties reduce the redness, itching, and irritation that make fungal and bacterial skin infections so uncomfortable. The staining was the most significant side effect. Your grandmother considered this entirely reasonable. She kept a dedicated cloth for turmeric paste applications. She solved the staining problem without stopping the remedy. That was exactly the kind of practical wisdom she applied to everything. Soothing burns and reducing scarring. When someone came to her with a minor burn, after the cooling water, after the initial pain had subsided, your grandmother applied turmeric paste. Half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a small amount of aloe vera gel or coconut oil if aloe was not available, mixed into a cool paste. Applied gently to the burn, covered lightly, reapplied daily. Curcumin's anti-inflammatory properties reduce the inflammatory response in burned tissue, which is responsible for much of the pain, swelling, and ongoing damage after a minor burn. Its antioxidant properties protect the regenerating skin cells from further oxidative damage during the healing process. Research has found that curcumin significantly reduces hypertrophic scarring, the raised, thickened scars that form when the inflammatory response during healing is excessive. Your grandmother's burns healed cleanly, with minimal scarring. She was methodical about it. She reapplied the paste every day without fail until the skin was completely restored. Her patience with the process was part of the remedy itself. Relieving menstrual discomfort. This is one that most people do not expect to find on a turmeric list. Your grandmother had remedies for everything, including the monthly discomfort that most women simply endured. She made a warm drink: half a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of ginger powder, a pinch of black pepper, warm milk, dairy, or oat, a teaspoon of honey, taken twice daily during the days of greatest discomfort. Menstrual pain is driven primarily by prostaglandins, inflammatory compounds released by the uterine lining. Curcumin inhibits prostaglandin synthesis, the same mechanism that makes NSAIDs effective for menstrual pain. A 2015 study found that curcumin supplementation significantly reduced the severity of premenstrual syndrome symptoms, both physical and psychological. Your grandmother did not endure monthly pain as something to simply push through. She had a remedy, she used it, and she remained functional and comfortable in a way that many women today, reaching for over-the-counter pain medication, do not always achieve. Oral health, teeth, and gums. Your grandmother's teeth were strong, her gums were healthy. She did not see a dentist as often as we are advised to today. She did something simple. She made a tooth powder, or sometimes a paste, from turmeric and coconut oil. Half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a teaspoon of coconut oil, a pinch of baking soda, mixed into a paste, applied to teeth and gums with a toothbrush, left for 2 minutes, rinsed thoroughly. Curcumin's antibacterial properties act directly against Streptococcus mutans, the primary bacterial cause of tooth decay and gum disease. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Indian Society of Periodontology found that curcumin mouthwash was as effective as chlorhexidine, the gold standard pharmaceutical mouthwash, in reducing gingivitis. Your grandmother's oral health routine cost pennies per week. It compared favorably with products that cost dollars per day, boosting the immune system before illness takes hold. Your grandmother did not wait until someone was sick to begin the turmeric. She gave it consistently, in the food, in the golden milk, in the warm morning drink, every day. Because she understood that the immune system is not something you activate when you need it. It is something you maintain when you do not. Curcumin modulates the immune response in both directions. When the immune system is underactive, as in the early stages of infection, curcumin stimulates the production and activity of immune cells. When it is overactive, as in autoimmune conditions and chronic inflammation, curcumin calms the response and prevents the damage caused by immune overreaction. This bidirectional modulation is extremely rare in both pharmaceutical and natural compounds. It is one of the qualities that makes curcumin genuinely remarkable. Your grandmother maintained her immune system the way she maintained her garden, consistently, before problems appeared, not in response to them, supporting brain health and memory. Your grandmother's mind was sharp. She forgot nothing important. She was present in conversation. Her reasoning was clear. Curcumin crosses the blood-brain barrier, which most anti-inflammatory compounds cannot do. Once inside the brain, it reduces neuroinflammation, the chronic low-level inflammatory state that is now understood to be central to cognitive decline and neurodegenerative disease. It increases the levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that stimulates the growth of new neurons and protects existing ones. Low BDNF levels are associated with depression, Alzheimer's disease, and age-related cognitive decline. A 2018 study published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that daily curcumin supplementation significantly improved memory and attention in non-demented adults over 18 months and reduced amyloid and tau deposits in brain regions associated with Alzheimer's disease. Your grandmother cooked with turmeric every day. She added black pepper. She used fat in her cooking. Her brain had everything it needed to absorb what she was giving it, and it stayed sharp for her entire life, reducing blood sugar and supporting metabolic health. Your grandmother's generation had significantly lower rates of type 2 diabetes than ours. The reasons are many, but the daily presence of turmeric in the diet was one of them. Curcumin improves insulin sensitivity, the body's ability to respond to insulin and regulate blood glucose effectively. A 2012 study published in Diabetes Care found that curcumin supplementation prevented the progression from prediabetes to type 2 diabetes in 100% of participants over a 9-month period, compared to 16% who developed diabetes in the placebo group. 100%. Your grandmother ate turmeric every day. She added it to her curries, her soups, her rice, her vegetables. It was always present. It was never absent. And metabolic disease was not the constant presence in her life that it is in ours. The golden milk evening ritual. Every evening, without fail, your grandmother made a cup of something warm and golden. This was not a remedy for a specific complaint. This was her daily maintenance, her investment in the next decade. Warm a cup of milk, dairy or plant-based. Add half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, always, a pinch of cinnamon, a small amount of fresh ginger or a quarter teaspoon of ginger powder, a teaspoon of raw honey, a small amount of coconut oil for absorption. Warm gently, do not boil. Stir until everything is incorporated. Drink slowly before bed. This single daily habit, maintained consistently over decades, delivers curcumin to every system in the body in its most bioavailable form. The fat from the milk and coconut oil carries it into the bloodstream. The piperine from the black pepper multiplies absorption. The ginger compounds work synergistically with curcumin to amplify its anti-inflammatory effect. The cinnamon adds blood sugar stabilization at a time when the body is preparing for the overnight fast. The honey promotes deep sleep. All of it in one cup, every evening, for decades. Your grandmother did not think of this as medicine. She thought of it as the right way to end a day. And number 1, the turmeric use that replaces a supplement most people pay $30 a month for. Turmeric as a complete anti-inflammatory supplement. Walk into any health food store. Walk to the supplement aisle. Find the curcumin supplements. $25 to $35 per bottle. Standardized to 95% curcuminoids, with piperine added for absorption. Taken twice daily with food. These supplements are effective. The research behind them is solid. But here's what most people who buy them every month do not know. The same, or greater, therapeutic benefit is available from properly prepared turmeric in food and drink. Not the turmeric capsule, not the standardized extract, the whole root, or the ground powder. Taken daily, with black pepper, with fat, in food, in golden milk, in warm drinks, the way your grandmother took it. Research comparing whole turmeric to isolated curcumin extracts has found that the whole root, with its full complement of compounds, oils, and supporting molecules, produces superior anti-inflammatory outcomes in several measures compared to isolated curcumin. This is because curcumin does not work alone. It works with the other compounds in the turmeric root: bis-dimethoxycurcumin, dimethoxycurcumin, turmerones, essential oils, all of them working together in ways that the extraction and isolation process disrupts. Your grandmother did not buy supplements. She bought turmeric. A jar of organic turmeric powder costs $4 to $8 and lasts for months. It replaces a $30 monthly supplement. It works better because it is the whole thing, because your grandmother was right, and because the wisdom she carried in her kitchen was more sophisticated than most people give it credit for. Half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, a fat nearby. Every single day. That is the supplement. It has been in your kitchen the whole time. 18 uses, 1 golden root, a jar that costs less than a single month's supply of supplements, and a wisdom that has been waiting in your kitchen, or your grandmother's kitchen, for longer than most medical traditions have existed. Start with the golden milk. Make it tonight. Half a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, warm milk, a teaspoon of honey. That is where to begin. Tell me in the comments, have you used turmeric before? Do you make golden milk already? Is there a turmeric remedy your grandmother used that I did not cover today? Share it, because this community holds knowledge that I have never encountered in any book. And every remedy shared here keeps something alive that deserves to be remembered. If this video meant something to you, please share it with someone who is still paying $30 a month for a supplement they could replace with a jar of turmeric and a pinch of pepper. They deserve to know. I will see you in the next one.